My name is Evan. I'm 24 now, but this happened when I was 17 in December 2018 in Spokane, Washington. Since that night, I still get sick whenever I see anyone dressed as Santa. My younger sister Maya and I went to the Northtown Mall to do some last-minute Christmas shopping. It was about 8:30 p.m. when we stepped outside. It was chilly, a light snow was falling, and the parking lot was half empty. The winter calm that seems peaceful until it's gone. As we walked toward our car, I noticed a man standing at the far end of the plaza, full red Santa suit, white beard, hat pulled down. But he wasn't smiling or waving or taking pictures with kids, nothing at all. He stood there facing us. At first I tried to ignore it. Spokane is full of volunteers during the holiday season as Christmas approaches. But something felt off. He wasn't moving. He wasn't doing anything. He was just staring. Mia squeezed my hand. Evan, why is Santa looking at us like that? Don't worry, I told her, even though my chest tightened. We hurried. I unlocked the car and opened the back door for Mia, and that's when I heard it. Boots on snow. Quick. I turned around, and Santa was walking toward us. He wasn't running. He was moving with steady, deliberate steps, as if he didn't want to draw attention, but desperately wanted to reach us. Can I help you? I asked, trying to sound calm. He didn't say a word, he just kept coming. I closed Mia's door and stepped back, my hand ready on my phone. Sir, do you need anything? Nothing. He got close enough for me to see his real face under the fake beard. Flushed, sweating, eyes wide as if he hadn't slept in days. Then he finally spoke. Is your mother home tonight? My whole body went numb. It didn't make sense. We didn't know him. He had no reason to ask that. What? I said. He kept coming. I've seen you two before. He muttered. You look familiar. His voice cracked on the last word, like he was arguing with himself. Mia whispered, Evan, get in the car. I pushed her inside and shut the door. The man took another step, raising his hand toward me. Not grabbing me, but extending it, like he expected me to come closer. I'm going to call the police, I shouted, and for the first time he reacted. His expression shifted instantly, like I had ruined something for him. He backed away fast, then turned and headed toward the dark end of the parking lot. I jumped into the driver's seat, locked the doors, and pulled away while dialing 911. Mia was quietly crying in the back. The dispatcher told us to wait on the main road until officers arrived. Minutes later, 2 patrol cars pulled into the lot. They had been patrolling nearby due to the holiday season. They searched the area for a while. At first, nothing. Then one of the officers came back to my window. We found him. Stay here for a moment. 10 minutes later, he returned. The man didn't work for the mall and wasn't part of any Christmas event. Security had already received 2 complaints that week about a man dressed as Santa chasing children in the same parking lot. When the officer stopped him, he had a folding knife in his coat pocket, a small bag with duct tape, gloves, and a cheap toy, the kind used to lure kids. He never explained why he approached us. He kept giving different stories. None of them made sense. He was arrested on multiple charges: stalking, attempted solicitation, and carrying a concealed weapon. That night, as I was driving home with the snow falling heavily and Mia holding my arm from the back seat, all I could think about was how close he was to me. I acted fast, and thank God I did. I don't know how he planned to lure us further, or what he would have done if he reached us. My name is Lucas. This is what happened to me when I was 16 on Christmas Eve in Toledo, Ohio. My parents had gone to a late church event, leaving me alone at home with my little sister's gifts to wrap. Our house was old, built in the 60s, and every corner carried the echoes of decades past. The wooden floors groaned with every step, and the basement door at the end of the hall always creaked in a way that made the quiet nights feel heavier, like someone was breathing just beyond your sight. That night, the air was still, the lights dim, and the house seemed to hold its breath. I just got a piece of wrapping paper when I heard it, a subtle scraping noise coming from the basement. At first, I told myself it was nothing, probably the house settling or the cold making the wood shift. But then it came again, a slow, deliberate step on the stairs. Not a creak of the floorboards, not pipes expanding. A step made by someone alive. I froze for a second, trying to measure the sound. My heart was pounding. Then I remembered the basement door had been unlocked. Someone had slipped inside. My first instinct was to hide, but the layout of the house gave me no cover. I grabbed the heaviest thing I could find, a metal candle holder, and gripped it with both hands, listening as the steps got louder, closer, deliberate but cautious. The intruder wasn't running, he was trying to move quietly, probably checking the rooms for valuables. I caught a glimpse of a shadow moving along the wall, dark against the dim glow of the hallway lights. The basement smelled damp and musty even from upstairs, and the chill ran through me. It wasn't just fear, it was the awareness that someone unknown with unknown intentions was inside my home. The candle holder felt heavier in my hands as I slowly edged toward the front door, every nerve alert. I could hear him opening drawers, moving things around. The faint clink of metal made me realize he might be carrying a small bag, looking for something valuable. A thought flashed through my mind. If he saw me, he might hurt me, just to get away. I moved as quickly as I could, careful not to make a sound on the old wooden floor. Every small creak made my stomach twist. Finally, I reached the front door. The cold hit me immediately as I turned the handle. The air outside felt sharp and alive compared to the tense stillness of the house. I bolted out barefoot across the snow to the neighbor's porch, my candle holder still clutched in my hands. The neighbors yelled at me, startled, and immediately called the police. I crouched on their porch, trying to slow my breathing, the cold biting through my socks. From the corner of my eye, I saw a movement. A dark figure, my intruder, slipping silently through the shadows between the houses. He had disappeared almost as if he was part of the night itself. I shivered, realizing how close he had been and how quickly he could vanish. When the police arrived, they searched the area and my house, but he was gone. There was no sign of forced entry. He had taken advantage of the unlocked basement door, a small lapse that had nearly cost me everything. The next days was a blur of anxiety. I checked every door multiple times before going to bed, tested every lock, turned the basement light on just to see, and even my parents, once they returned, started double-checking the house. The idea that someone had been inside while we were home alone made every small noise, every shadow feel like a threat. Every Christmas Eve, the memory of that night comes back. The cold, the darkness, the sound of footsteps in the basement, the shadow disappearing into the night. I learned to lock every door, triple check windows, and always keep my phone close. Even now, when I visit my parents during the holidays, I can't relax until I've checked every lock and turned on every light. That night changed how I felt about being alone in the house. This happened to me 4 years ago when I was 22 on Christmas morning in Flagstaff, Arizona. I'd woken up unusually early, around 5 a.m., to drive my older car to my mom's place and drop off a few gifts before she got busy with holiday guests. December mornings in Flagstaff are bitterly cold, and the frost cutting the roads made the streets almost silent, like the world was holding its breath. The roads were empty except for the occasional distant car. My breath fogged inside the car, and the heater struggled to keep the chill away. I'd been driving about 15 minutes when I noticed the car pulled over on the side of the road. Hazard lights blinking, hood up. A man stood beside it, waving for help. Normally, I would have kept driving. My parents had warned me about stopping for strangers. But it was Christmas morning and he looked genuinely desperate. I pulled over a few feet behind him and rolled down my window. "You okay, man?" I asked. He nodded too quickly, too eagerly. Yeah. My battery died. You have jumper cables?" I did. They were in my trunk. I got out and walked toward his car. Immediately, something felt off. The hood was up, but the engine didn't show any signs of being tampered with. No tools, no smell of burnt battery acid, nothing. Just the cold metal of the hood and the frost glistening in the pale morning light. Then I noticed movement inside the passenger seat. A shadow shifted. Something large. Not what he had claimed. "Who's with you?" I asked. "My sister," he said, hesitating. The silhouette was broad and unnerving. It was clearly not a woman. Before I could process it, I heard a metallic click behind me. My car's back door slammed open. I spun around, and there he was, a second man climbing out of my driver's side. My car had been broken into while I was distracted. Everything clicked in an instant. This wasn't standard motorist needing help. This was a setup. I didn't hesitate. I bolted across the frozen road, boots crunching the frost. The cold air stung my lungs. Branches waved against my face as I ran uphill into the line of trees. Behind me, they shouted and cursed, boots pounding the icy ground. But I didn't look back. I stumbled, slipped, and grabbed a tree to steady myself. My hands were shaking as I dialed 911. From my hiding spot in the trees, I watched the two men regroup, climb into their cars, and speed off into the distance before the police even arrived. When officers reached me, they surveyed the area. My car had been parked roughly a mile down the road. The doors were open, the glove compartment rifled, gifts tossed around. They told me this matched the pattern of crimes reported in the region. Staged roadside breakdowns targeting lone drivers, often early in the morning. The suspects had never been caught. I spent the rest of Christmas at my mom's house pretending everything was fine, but every shadow and sound reminded me of that morning. The image of the second man climbing out of my car, silent and calculated, stayed with me. If I hadn't glanced behind me at the exact moment, I shudder to think what could have happened. Since that day, I became hyper-aware of every car parked on the roadside, every figure standing too still. The holiday cheer that made me stop that morning became a cautionary memory. Even now, Christmas mornings feel different. The roads feel quieter, sharper, and far more dangerous. I never stop for standard motorists anymore, not even during the holidays.